Hi, Aries, and welcome to your January 2022 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about a lovely month ahead for you. I hope you're having a lovely new year, and I hope you've gotten the chance to check out the 2022 year ahead forecasts. I will link that below and in the top right-hand corner. If you've been looking to see your year ahead, yes, but I will be talking just about your month of January in this reading. I hope you're all doing really well. Let's dive right into this reading. Okay, so, the first thing that I'm feeling for Aries energy as I've been meditating on it for January is mixed feelings. That's the word that came up for me, or I suppose the two words that came up for me about you. I feel that in general for the Aries archetype, there could be generalized mixed feelings. So you might be involving yourself in a few too many things right now, or you might be not quite honed on what your energy contributions are. So I would try to really watch out for getting too far outside of yourself in January. It's a very condensing month to me. Like, to me, I'm seeing wake up calls across the board. I'm seeing like coming to a certain limit for a lot of people, and this is going to be a beautiful thing in about 4 or 5 months time. Okay, but right now here in January it can feel a little bit frustrating as a lot of us are faced like just directly faced with certain limitations that are preparing for larger expansions, of course, as they always do. So we have, of course, if you're an Aries rising, Jupiter having moved into Pisces, first full month of Jupiter back in Pisces here in January, meaning that Jupiter would be in your collective 12th house. So huge psychic expansion. Like, I would say probably more than anything, like more than your expected growth, like your psychic growth is going to be where it's at, and that's going to be a really big help for you as you're going to likely be unable to distract yourself from negative instincts. Okay, so perhaps being involved in something that's not feeling great but trying to push through, it's going to get more and more difficult in January. And it's not saying that you need to like quit or you need to walk away from what you're currently involving in, but I do think that there is a lot of like questions for most of you to be asking, like if you're not just feeling like 100% behind what you're doing, like how long have I been feeling this way and how long am I willing to feel this way? Also, as I was saying a second ago, like being perhaps scattered or having so many different projects, so many different things on the back burner is difficult at this point in time, because it's almost like this Jupiter and Pisces energy is going to kind of multiply everything in our life anyway. So if you've got like 10 different moving parts, it's going to like multiply each of them by like 3. So that's going to turn 10 moving parts into like 30 moving parts. So it's good to maybe only have like 2 or 3 moving parts so that those then just get multiplied into like 5 or 6. There's a major expansive energy, like so expansive, Jupiter and Neptune sign in Pisces. And for an Aries, especially, it's really important to kick this off right, or to kick this off on the right foot. So intuitively for your sign, I think that maybe you need a different approach to new beginnings. So when you start something, when you enter that new field, when you enter into that new space, which you're likely going to have to do again, like by your season this year, try to ceremonialize this more. Try to have maybe a different mantra or a different way of entering, a different way of just stepping into these new phases, because I feel like the last new beginning, or perhaps the one before that, I'm actually reaching back to around the time of like February, March 2020, when you had a certain different type of new beginning. Then it's almost like it was rushed, or it was pushed into this weird place, and you're called in January of 2022 to fix or correct some of this karma regarding the makeshift new beginnings, or the new beginnings that are pushed through to in a reckless way. So like the recklessness of an Aries comes up in January of 2022. And, I'm really being pulled by that 9 of Wands card, by the 3 of Swords, and by 2 of Cups. So you keep like working to this romantic place. Like there's maybe a romanticization of difficulty, or a romanticization of striving that might need to be taken a second look at here in January, because it feels like your previous broken heart or your previous relationship endings have been such motivators for you in your maybe your professional evolution. And now it needs to transform a little bit. Now there has to almost be this like sizable shift into just being powerful in your own right without the motivation of these old traumas. Okay, so that's it. That's the main thing about January for you in Aries is being powerful in your own right. Okay. Um, it's almost like you're looking for all these different kind of random peripheral synchronicities or motivators like outside of you, like, oh my gosh, that person or that job or that position to be my claim or to be my source of power. And the universe is kind of redirecting you here in January. And it's like, but what about what you already are? What about what you've already brought to the table? What about who you have been? So the whole grass is greener on the other side complex, the flirtations with ambition, the dissatisfaction with the present thing is like a volcanic pimple at this time. It's really, really coming to a head in this month. And I think to a point where you will have a new way of navigating in general. So I'm seeing like by this time next year, honestly, like you might look very unfavorably upon these types of personality traits that really favor the hard stories or really favor the traumatic, like rising from the ashes, like, dark experiences becoming such a pivotal, wanted part for so many people due to the romanticization, right, of them. And another psychic download I'm getting, just series of words again, is just shelf life. Okay, so mixed feelings, shelf life, interesting series of little psychic downloads here. It's saying to me that you might be pushing something past its due date. Okay, something perhaps has expired, though you're still trying to get use out of it. Okay, and how incredible it's going to be to get things that are in date or to get things that are really fresh. So there's a need for fresh experiences to maybe clarify what you need to do moving forward, because these mixed feelings, these experiences with shelf lives, these kind of safer or familiar experiences are going to become way too complicated if you can't like maybe walk away now or choose the paths or doors or gates that you've been wanting for such a long time now. I'm also seeing, okay, just psychic message after psychic message here. Something is harder than it has to be with this energy. The moon, the 9 of wands, the 3 of swords. It's like psychic jello. It's a lot of this is in the mind. A lot of the struggle is in the mind that you're having right now. A lot of this is like a mental maze. A lot of this is, I think, what have I called this before? Like the mental trapeze or whatever. Like we're just swinging around in the mind. And it's going to have to become physical. And hopefully you have a nice foundation ready to support these more physical, much more, I don't know, Aries-centric experiences, like trying not to think so much for other people, trying to not worry so much about what other people think, trying to just really remember what it's like to be living in a first-person experience, okay? Let's talk about your week-to-week Aries. Week number 1, you've got the Knight of Cups rooted down by the moon. Emotional level up for you in the first week of the month. So immediately, there's going to kind of be a question about who you can trust in the first week of January, and I think that it's coming up for everybody. I mean, coming past the holiday season, for example, of 2021, I'm seeing a lot of people like make long-term decisions about the people in their lives. There was a really, this is an interesting psychic download. I'm getting so much psychic energy from you, Aries, because of the Chiron in your sign and the way that's been being aspected lately. So people are really choosing who their tribe will be right now, and I feel that around like December 23rd to January 4th, okay, there is a portal there, and there is a deciding maybe not to have certain contacts anymore, or a deciding also that somebody is a certain type of person. So there's a very reputation-oriented thing coming up here, as does tend to happen during Capricorn season. And you would also do well, I think, to worry less about the way that people are doing that to you and try to let it be their business. But I will say you might want to be tactful. Okay, first week of January. Being tactful with how you dream, being tactful with how you emote, okay, being tactful with what you buy into. The moon. The moon is about perception. The moon is about the way that we see things, the way that we choose to identify something. You know, for one person, like if you took two different people and you showed them one house, both of them would have different opinions. Like one person might say, that's my dream house. Another person might say, gross, get that thing away from me. You know, this is like the energy of the moon. Like different people have different perceptions of different things. So there's something about that for you coming up. Be careful about applying your perception to other people. Like, you know, using that previous example, like this is the perfect house. Everybody would like this house. No, be careful about thinking that people think the way that you do. Also, be careful about thinking that you think the way that they do. Okay, so we need to maybe really be able to separate or compartmentalize here in order to emotionally level up. So it feels very freeing to me. It feels very like, wow, I can not care as much about what people think. I can not care about shaping the perception of other people. To me, this is kind of like brainwashing as well in the first week. So if you have people in your life that are like emotionally abusive or like brainwashing people, or people who like really try to make you think a certain way about things, I would really see that for what it is now. I would stop trying to stand up for that type of person. And I would also really keep a lookout for like jealousy and for bitterness. I'm feeling that Aries are really getting somewhere, and you might see that people who you could trust before now have jealousy or now have anger in their hearts for your success. And it's going to show like clear as day. But you've got to be tactful when you're noticing that, because sometimes Aries can be so direct and so, you know, Aries hates to beat around the bush. Aries hates to sugarcoat it. Aries hates to lie, you know. I would look out for lies. I would look out for mistruth. I would look out for dishonesty in the first week too. I'm not saying that it's like in your life or that there are people in your life being dishonest, but I do think that it's playing more of a role than any of us would care to accept in an extended way. It's very complicated. As we move into this Jupiter, Neptune, and Pisces in 2022, I'm a little bit concerned about the honesty of that transit, and I'm a little bit concerned about some of the transparency and some of the like motives of certain people being very unclear. So as an Aries, maybe cutting through the BS is really the most keen way to do this, actually. But try to really just see it in people. You can really see it. You can really see it in the eyes. You can really see it in the essence of a person when they have basically lost integrity or lost their sense of truth or have become like corrupted. The energy of corruption is a big thing in 2022 because of this Jupiter Neptune conjunction in Pisces. And of course, then we start to learn that corruption as perceived by one person is like maybe not perceived by as that by another person, is maybe like it's justified in the eyes of some other people, and then we get into really weird territories. But as it relates to you personally, Aries, the first week of January is going to set it like right off, like who you can trust, who you can't trust. And also it's going to, I think you're going to just see through it. I think you're going to have X-ray vision, and that's going to be a really good tool for you. The main thing you don't want to do is to like just convince yourself, oh, that person is like established. Oh, that person is like, you know, has like a wonderful lawyer or something. They must be honest people, you know, like try to watch out for those conventional little flags of like, you know, legitimacy. Because I think that there's a big question around that. But yes, second week you have the Three of Swords rooted down by the Three of Pentacles. So 2 threes. You're reshaping, you're reforming, you're creating new structures in your life in the second week of January. And there could also be harsh words from another person. There could be like, wow, it really hurt me to see that that person lost their moral compass, or that person lost they're just not who they used to be. Like they have like changed. You could see that people are changing, and it could be a little bit heartbreaking, but you've got to remember that that's their experience. And that is hard, like, especially if we're in a love relationship with someone who goes through that. You know, that's one of the things that brought me to this channel was I was in a relationship with a person who like completely like transformed and like died basically, but they lived. Like they didn't like die, but the person that they were like died, and it was like really crazy to watch that happen. And you could be going through something like that during that time. It's like watching somebody completely lose who they once were and seeing like this rebirth of a new person inside of them. And they are like a new person. It's like a phoenix rising from the ashes, for better or worse. And I think you're witnessing something like that. Or this could be like a coworker. This could be like a distant acquaintance. But there's a sense of somebody really changing, or somebody really being different. And it seems like it hurts you a little bit, but like it is meant to, again, put you in your own power and not in theirs. So try to think about how you, again, have more of this independent power instead of the reliant or dependent power, because the Three of Pentacles is about group projects. It's about teamwork. This could be teamwork in a relationship. This could be teamwork in a group setting. And then when you mix that with Three of Swords, of course, you're seeing that like, oh, somebody in the group or somebody in the team or this person I'm in a relationship with, like it's just, my heart doesn't, like I'm shocked at what happened in that situation. So like group events possibly not panning out as we expected, all kinds of stuff like that. Okay, so try to divest yourself a little bit. And again, that has been such an incredible word for me for the entire year of 2022 that I was seeing in the year ahead forecast and that I've been seeing leading up, is like any type of divestment that one can do. It's not perfect for every situation, because I certainly don't recommend that, for example, like parents divest themselves of like love for their children or something. Like that's not really the right territory. But especially when it comes to like very fiat experiences, like having societal regard from your coworkers, being respected by your colleagues, like, you know, seeing that your business is like raking in some type of like percentage of revenue or something, try to really divest yourself from the need to see those rigid results, okay? Because that's really harsh this year. Week number 3, the King of Pentacles rooted down by the Two of Cups. And you have potentially a new relationship all of a sudden in the 3rd week of January. How crazy. Things just shift over. You have earned something in the 3rd week of January. You have earned someone's affection. Perhaps somebody is courting you. Perhaps somebody is flirting with you. Perhaps somebody who's really successful and really materially abundant is really keeping their eye out for you. So Aries becoming a very attractive person in the sphere that they exist. And I think that the 3rd week of January is going to be a bit of a paradigm shift into a more loving chapter of your life. So do you see, as you kind of have this like, you know, tactfulness, and then you have this kind of divestment of expectation over stuff that doesn't matter, and here in the 3rd week, all of a sudden there's like this love opportunity, or there's this like ability to really connect with somebody. That really is how it happens, because what you see is in 1st week and 2nd week, there's a retraction, there's a clearing up, there's a creation of space. And then in the 3rd week, there's a filling of space. And I think that that's really beautiful to see for you. Week number 4, you've got the 9 of Wands rooted down by the Ace of Swords. So, oh my gosh, this reading has a certain cadence to it. But yes, so 9 of Wands rooted down by the Ace of Swords. I'm disappointed to see you guys working so hard. Okay. I think that the work needs to be transmuted somewhere else. I think it's needed to be transmuted for a long time, and you've maybe been making incremental steps for such a long time, but it's not maybe come to the place that it needed to come to. Because I don't want to keep seeing 9 and 10 of Wands in 2022. Like, these were the energies that 2021 was like made of. There's nothing wrong with hard work. There's nothing wrong with pushing through and pushing to develop the endurance further. But at some point in time, there has to be a scaling back, and there's got to be like this 4 of Swords or this Ace of Cups type of feeling, you know? We can't keep activating this 9 of Wands and 10 of Wands. It's going to start to make it impossible for us to like live, okay? So what I'm saying to you is, like, every time that a problem comes up, every time that a deadline, you know, is not quite meetable, every time that there's this like question mark that comes up, or this thing that we have to really work on, I see everybody saying, oh, here's my 9 of Wands card, here's my 10 of Wands card, let me just work really, really hard and like push my physicality and my mind and my body to such a place just to like meet this, or just to get this done, just to live up to a standard. I think that we've got to start meeting it a little bit differently, okay? And maybe activating like Four of Swords, or activating Two of Wands, or Ace of Wands even, and Ace of Swords is also quite good. So you're already kind of getting there. You're going to see, like, if you get into the 4th week of January and you're like, I'm right back into that overworking, overcompensating place. But then it's all of a sudden there's kind of this like light bulb moment. There's this like ding, here's the answer, here's the solution. And I would say as you enter into February 2022, Aries, it's going to totally change. You could have a new relationship by then. And I know that's crazy to think about for many of you, and it's not obviously for all of you. But whatever you kind of think is very unlikely, or whatever you think is like so distant from you, might just come in during February, and you might just be like poised to completely step onto that purposeful path instead of this like Nine of Wands, tried, true, and overdone path. So let's talk more about that in your extended reading, Aries. It's been a long one here on YouTube, but anyway, if you enjoyed it, be sure to hit the subscribe button and thumbs up the video. And if you would like to support this channel and get all the readings early, ad-free, and extended, you can check out the Patreon page. I'll link it below and in the center of your screen now. So let's talk about this February vibe and the general huge changes coming in over there. Have a wonderful month ahead, Aries. Bye.